Today we're doing a vacuum chamber experiment that everybody can participate in. I'm going to take 4 balloons that are identical and fill them with different things. One of them is going to have water, one will have shaving cream, one will have environmental air, and the other will have helium. I'm not going to tell you which balloon has what inside until the end of the experiment. So before we turn on the vacuum pump and go through all of that, go into the comments and make your prediction. Which of the 4 substances do you think will cause its balloon to expand the most? Air, water, shaving cream, or helium? I'll give you a few more seconds to put your prediction in the comments below. Then, after it's revealed, reply to your own comment and tell me whether you were right or completely wrong, and your thoughts on it. And while you're watching, see if you can figure out which substance is inside which colored balloon. To make this comparison as fair as possible, I tested every balloon separately using the same vacuum chamber and the same pump. Then I synchronized the 4 recordings to the moment the vacuum pump turned on. Every one of these ran for exactly 5 minutes. The footage has been sped up, but the timer shows the actual time passing inside the chamber. The vacuum pump is not sucking anything out of the balloons. They're all tied shut. Instead, the pump is removing the air surrounding them and lowering the pressure inside the chamber. As the outside pressure decreases, anything capable of expanding inside of a balloon can begin to push on the rubber outward. 2 of these balloons contain gases, regular air and helium. Both gases should expand as the pressure around them decreases. Helium is much lighter than air, but that doesn't necessarily mean it'll expand more. If both balloons start at the same volume, same temperature, same internal pressure, they should behave similarly. Of course, these are just dollar store latex balloons, not perfect laboratory containers. Small differences in the amount of gas, the thickness of the rubber, or how tightly each balloon was stretched could affect the final result. One balloon contains water. Unlike gas, liquid water is extremely difficult to expand or compress. The balloon should remain pretty close to the original size, although even a small pocket of trapped air could become more noticeable under the vacuum. Shaving cream is somewhere in between. It looks like one solid mass. Shaving cream is actually a foam containing an enormous number of tiny gas bubbles. As the pressure decreases, those individual bubbles may expand and cause the entire balloon to grow. We're now coming to the end of the 5-minute test. Based on how each balloon moved, expanded, or stayed nearly unchanged, see if you can identify what is inside each color. Which one's water, which one's shaving cream, which one's helium, and which one's regular air. There's the 5 full minutes. So this is a freeze frame of all 4 balloons right at the 5-minute mark. Take one last look and lock in your answers. So here's what's inside each one. The yellow balloon had the water. The blue balloon, which ended up looking silver, had shaving cream. The purple balloon had helium, and the pink had regular air. The most dramatic result by far was shaving cream. That balloon started blue, and it expanded so much that the rubber stretched to be really thin, and the white shaving cream underneath showing through made it kind of look silver. Shaving cream is a foam, meaning it contains an enormous number of tiny gas bubbles. As the pressure surrounding the balloon decreased, those bubbles expanded throughout the shaving cream. Eventually, the balloon became so large that the vacuum chamber itself prevented it from expanding further. The yellow water balloon was the complete opposite. It barely changed at all. Liquid water is almost incompressible and doesn't contain large pockets of gas. Because I removed nearly all the air before tying the balloon, there was almost nothing inside that could dramatically expand as the outside pressure decreased. Then we have the purple helium balloon and the pink balloon containing regular room air. Both expanded because both contained gases. As the pressure outside the balloon decreased, the gas inside occupied more volume and stretched the rubber outward. Overall, comparing start and end size, the helium balloon did become slightly larger than the regular balloon compared to its starting size. It doesn't necessarily mean helium expands more because it's lighter. If both gases started at exactly the same pressure, temperature, and volume, we would expect them to behave very similarly. These balloons were matched really close to their visual starting size. Not by perfectly measuring their internal pressure. A small difference in this amount of gas and thickness of the rubber, or how much each balloon had already been stretched, could explain the difference. So the final order was shaving cream in first place by a massive amount, followed by helium, regular air, and then water, which barely changed. The biggest surprise for me was definitely the shaving cream. It starts inside the tiny balloon and ended up filling up the entire vacuum chamber almost. So it almost seems like there's more air inside shaving cream than there is inside of air, which is funny. If you made a prediction at the beginning, go back to your original comment and reply to it. Let me know whether you were right, you were wrong, what your thoughts were, and if the results surprised you. And leave in the comments if there's anything else you want to see me put in a vacuum chamber just because we can.